Our next piece is actually, I miswrote it because I was writing something else as I did it, but it's actually called Two Celtic Dances, and I misspelled it as Two Country Dances. And we actually do have a piece of music, it's a little bit more advanced, called Two Country Dances. So I wasn't thinking, so I apologize, but it's a great piece, and that's going to be our next piece. They're not used to standing up and taking a bow for applause, but we were discussing in professional orchestras, that's what they do after they perform a piece. So the next piece, I have been slightly teasing them about how this next piece is going to make their parents cry, because it's such a beautiful piece. It's actually based on Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, but it's on Dante. Now, I know most of you maybe don't know about music, so we learned a lot of Italian terms, because that's actually where Western music originally originated from. So they're learning some terms of Dante, Allegro, Pianissimo, Adagio. So this is a slow piece, which is difficult, because as a young musician, you should try to play something slow, count, and also if you notice the pieces now, the performers are playing different parts and different beats of the piece, so everyone has to kind of know their part well, listen to their section, and stick together, and then it's like a puzzle, we all make it work together. So this next piece, sit back, close your eyes, and if you cry, that's okay. I know that may seem easy, but that's actually very difficult to do because they're having to play lightly and slowly and still follow a conductor. So their brain is doing all sorts of things, and it's really amazing, and they sound fantastic. We're going to do one more piece for the 6th graders, then I'm going to bring the 7th graders up. I'm going to ask all parents, if it's okay, I would love, if you don't mind, just to stay for the 7th grade and 8th grade portion, only because we talked about just manners in concerts and how performers really prefer if you stay, and then at the end of the performance to clap and applaud for them. And so we talked about how when I go to concerts and we see people leaving right away and not even acknowledging the actors or the musicians or whatever you're going to see. And I usually find that, why are you leaving so early? And a lot of time I hear somebody, gotta get in my car, gotta get in my car. I'm thinking, you know, these musicians or actors or whatever you've gone to see, or even sports people, have worked really hard, and it's really polite just to acknowledge them. So if it's okay, we'll be done not in maybe another half hour between the 7th and 8th graders, and we really appreciate it because it makes the musicians feel great too, that you're acknowledging their abilities. So thank you. We'll do one more piece, and I'm going to switch to the orchestras. And this last piece is actually the hardest piece that we're doing, and you'll hear lots of different things. It's called Christmas Fiddlers in the Hall. And it's a happy piece, but it's tricky, and they really worked hard on this. So sit back and enjoy. next piece is going to start, start out with just the basis for a minute. And it's a tricky rhythm that we worked on, which has the first time they're reading 16th notes and 8th notes in one measure connected together. And then they're having to rest and play on the ands of the beats. I know that sounds tricky, but if anyone listens to reggae music, the guitar is a lot of on the upbeat, up, up, and that's on the and of the beat. So that's what they're doing here. So you'll hear this. This is called African Lessons. Our next piece is actually based on a Bach piece. It's called Bach Country Fiddle, so it has a little bit of a twang to it. But the reason why I picked it is it actually has some fast eighth notes going on. So you're going to see the violin players really having to play fast. This is the first time they're going to have to really, not the first time, but now they're going to do some music that takes a bit more technique, so they have to really concentrate hard on this. So hopefully we'll get to the end. So this next piece, while it sounds simple, it actually, I'm teaching my students that, and you may have heard this before, but silence is part of music. So when you're listening to music, actually sections of the orchestra may not be playing, but there are other times when everything may stop and then start again. That creates excitement and also gives the listener's ears a chance to rest for a second. And that's why music has to have rest, because you just can't keep going on and on. This piece is called Aftershock, and you'll hear what's going on. They're going to stop and start, and they have to all do it together, and I'm not saying a thing. I'm just going to be conducting. So we worked on this, and it's actually a lot of fun. But it's hard because they really have to concentrate on counting together and watching together. So another little step up in learning experiences. So sit back and enjoy. Piece for the 7th graders is called Burst. And actually it's going to be a combination of all the techniques you heard today, speed, which is allegro playing, silence, and following the conductor at the same time, and also technique on their instruments. Thank you again, and as soon as the 7th graders are off the stage, the 8th graders will come on, and please stick around, they're fantastic as well. And again, thank you so much. Your children are really wonderful. I don't know what they're like at home, but in school, they're marvelous. Seriously, they really are marvelous in school. I just want to thank you, they're wonderful. And just before I start, I'm just going to suggest, I know some of you see my emails about musical play dates, but if you have the time over the break, please take them to the city. The New York Philharmonic has specials. You can take them to A.B. Fisher Hall. They can see a rehearsal. It's not that expensive, and they'll have a great time watching professional musicians, or take them to even a Broadway show that you can find inexpensive tickets at Ticketmaster, or in the square where they have the TTK, in the middle of Times Square. You can get half-price tickets. But if you can take them to a musical, they can see the orchestra performing. And again, they're very focused musicians. A lot of them are friends of myself and Mrs. Torrente, and it would be a wonderful experience for them and for you as well as parents. They'll be really enthralled with that. So if you get the chance and you can do that, you live so close to a major metropolitan area, it's a wonderful experience. So thank you again. First.
And I am honored and privileged to live in Yorktown and to teach in the school. And I teach 8th through 12th grade. So this is my first year, I hope, of 5 of these students. And we have come with, actually, this is 2 classes. We have played together now 3 times. And they rehearse every other day. And then small group lessons also, besides that. So they did a great job. That was Forest Hills Suite, and I know we have Forest Hills in Queens, but this was actually written for Forest Hills in Cincinnati area, and by Mr. Myers, who was there and wrote 3 movement work. So what we're doing tonight is we're going to switch seats. So what we've done is to give everyone an opportunity to sit up front, and also an opportunity to sit up in the back. When you go to see an orchestra play, you go to New York Phil, the guys who sit in the front aren't in the front because they're worse players than the guys who sit in the back. Guys who sit in the back actually are as good, and sometimes better, than the people that sit in the front. So balance in an orchestra is very important. We have to have strong players all through. So I'm letting everyone have a shot at sitting up front. Unfortunately, we can't all sit in the front stand at the same time. So when you see seating in an orchestra, there's lots of different reasons for it. But in the 8th grade, for this concert, we are switching seats for every song. And I just realized I'm still wearing my tag. Anyway, so we will continue here with Christmas Cradle. So everyone's getting to switch except for Sophie. Sophie's back on bass. And she's not getting to switch because she's the only bass player for this group, but she is doing a fantastic job. So not only are we switching front to back sometimes, but we're switching first to second. If any of you are singers in a choir, you know that we have different voices, and the orchestra is very much like that. So we have a soprano voice, we have an alto voice, we have a tenor voice, we have a bass voice. And so first violin doesn't mean that they're better, they're singing the soprano line. The second violin part is very often much harder than the first violin part. It's a harmony part. You have to be able to fit into a chord differently. So what I'd like to do is to ask all the sections to stand as they're seated right now. So guys, there's one more seat over. Haley, can you move over it that way? Good. And Regan, can you guys move over? And Samantha, can you move over? And yours, right. And then, right, so you sit there. There we go. Right? Yeah. My guys back there, can you go find a Chinese dance? Is that what we do? Yeah, Chinese dance first violin part while I talk. Good, thank you. Kevin, could you go back into the room? Alright, so we're good. So what we're going to do is, I have students going back, we're missing a part on stage. So what you saw in the last piece too, is that we have guys who are learning how to shift. First violins, could you do me a favor? Could you all put your violins up and up on your shoulders? Violas, you can do this too. Cellos, you can do this too. Show everybody where first position is on the instrument, and then show them where a higher position is. Show them third position, and cello, show them fourth position. Right, all the way down. Good. And we're using second position in our parts right now when you're going from the D and E flat. So what we're learning is to use the whole fingerboard very differently. We're also starting to learn vibrato in 8th grade. Some students are doing that. So we're really expanding what we do here. So I was going to ask them to stand. So let me show you where the first violins are. So if you're playing the first violin part for this, would you stand up? Good. So these are students playing more the melody part. And if you're playing a second violin part, good. So can you stand up? And Parsa and Ram, can you go over to the seconds? There you go. And that's okay. We never get to rehearse this part. This is the hardest part of the show, actually. All right. Good. And can you guys sit? Good. Violas, can you stand? And cellos are obvious here on the outside. And good. So cello, viola stand. And cello stand. Good. I just made 10 copies. Watched A League of Their Own. Have you ever watched that movie? There's a scene in League of Their Own, and I tell the kids all the time, you gotta watch that, when he's really trying not to get upset. And every once in a while I do that with the kids, I'll say, it's okay. what we were working on there was opening it up and closing our arms. You guys want to show them our chops? Go ahead, chop, 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 chop. So what we learned was that we could actually picture a face in our arms, and we put two eyes next to the face, and we close our bows. We're actually like eating. So we're going chomp, 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 chomp. So if your child is going around the house going chomp, 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 you'll know why. It's all good. So I'd like to thank a lot of people here, and it might take a minute, and that's okay. Nothing happens in a vacuum. We are all taught by people that came before us. I'd like to first and foremost thank everyone who taught before me. The K through 8 program here is very strong, and that beginning program is so important. It is incredibly important in developing your children's sense of rhythm and in your children's ears. And so thank you to all of my colleagues in the elementary schools, and also to Mr. Getz, who fed me these beautiful kids. Yeah. So thank you to them. Also, I have to acknowledge our board here. Mr. Moore, Dan Moore, is our faculty advisor, and today on the board there's Arlene Kamaj and Celia Nash and Jessica Anderson, and they were here before I was, and I don't think they've gone home yet, actually, since 6 o'clock this morning, or 7 o'clock this morning. So please, everyone, big hand. Notice me talking to the kids backstage. If I could ask my high schoolers to come out, every concert they come to help. I think we have Scarlett, Emma, Eliza, Julia, Jack, Kevin, and Tony here tonight. Can you guys come out? They are officers in our high school group, and they're really wonderful. And I don't know where the other guys are. They're probably still back in the room. But they've all been helping tonight, so thank you guys. To our administrative staff, thank you so much, Dr. McGinnis, Ms. O'Shea, Dr. Hatter, Ms. Horowitz, Ms. Copeland, and Mr. Shilen. They are incredibly supportive. We're very fortunate to have administrators who understand the importance of music and what it does for our children, for their brains, as well as for their hearts. So thank you. So the last number that we're going to do here is Let It Snow, and you know we all do look forward to those snow days. So I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, but let's see what happens this evening. Thank you all very much, parents. Oh, I forgot to thank you. Oh my gosh, you are the most important part of this, actually. Without your reminders. For those of you who know me and have heard me speak about this before, you know that I really firmly believe that this is not a very kid-like activity. Practicing is a really tough kind of thing. They have to practice at home and self-correct. And that is hard, and it's not easy. And there's no place to hide, really. Either it's right or it's wrong. And you have to do it about 20 million times to make it right. So we try to make it as successful as possible, but without your parent piece at home, without them practicing at home, it doesn't happen. I can be yo-yo ma up here, it doesn't matter. If it's not happening at home, it's not going to happen here. So thank you so much. So tonight they don't have to practice. Tomorrow they do. So please, math, music. Did you do your math homework? Did you practice a little bit? 3 minutes a day beats 10 hours on Saturday every time. 10 hours on Saturday does not make up for 3 minutes every day. So thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about practicing a little bit. Anyway, so we are going to play Let It Snow and enjoy. And thank you.
there is no snow in the forecast this evening, there will be school tomorrow. I repeat, there will be school tomorrow. We would like to extend our best wishes for a happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you, and have a safe night.